All of praise to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Nakaha Kadash, and the Bohana to Zeld and the Apostle of Timison who do well and who taught us this 100% truth according to the scripture. A peace, blessing, and salvation to you, Akim, who are pushing this truth to the four winds of the heaven, be on the forefront of this spiritual war, to make sure Jerusalem is established as a praise here on earth again. This is the book of Lamentation 4 and verse 9. It says, "They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For this pine away, strike and slew for want of the fruit of the field." So you see, going back all the way to the ancient world, where food was abundant, you see, where food was abundant, and where people used to produce their own food, people used it to own real money, not paper money like today. But still, the Lord said, famine, man. Not only did the Lord send famine, but also grievous famine, as we can see here in Genesis 12 and 9, and it reads, "And Abraham journeyed going on still toward south, and there was a famine in the land, and Abraham went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land." So my point here is, if you read different ancient history, you can see the Lord sent different famine, different plagues. But today I will focus more on famine, you see. Today I will focus more on famine, you see. As I was speaking that back in the day, people had land, like Abraham. Abraham was a rich man. And guess what Abraham owned? He owned gold, he owned land, he owned cattle, he owned mules, he owned sheep, man. But still the Lord, he sent grievous famine on the land, man. And that's what Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai operate. Because commonly here on earth you have what we call the flow of goods, man. The flow of goods and the supply, you see. And what the Lord do is he do what he prohibits, so to speak, the flow of goods and the supply, man. You see. And by doing that, he touched different strategic areas, man, because he is the one who created all of this chain of supply, man. Here on earth there is a natural chain of supply. When you go and read the book of Kings during King Solomon, how he obtained his wealth, man. Basically what he did is he dominated all of the major chain of supply, man. You see. So the Lord, he know the chain of supply. That's why even Esau also know, because he is the ruler of this earth, man. This world was given to Esau, so he know the strategic chain of supply, man. So what he do is Esau, he have dominated all of that. That's why here on this world you have classes, man. You have the first world country, in which they call it Esau's heaven. You have the middle, the middle income country, or the middle economy, if you will. You have the third world country, in which majority of Israel they live, man. And in the third world country, that's where a lot of resources come from, man. Or do you think this country is still poor, despite that they have these resources, man. You see, that's the Lord. That's how bad the Lord is, because He gave Esau the dew of the heaven, man. Different crucial strategic areas, man, in which He can squeeze. He can squeeze you through these different measures like embargoes and sanctions. Squeeze you to the extent that you starve while you have resources, man. You starve while you have gold. When you look at countries like the Congo, they starve while they have gold. Not only gold, the abundant gold. Their land is very fertile. Their land receives rain in due season, but still you have a lot of poor people in Congo, man. Why do you think that is, man? That's the Lord, man. The Lord is bad, man. Going back to the animal kingdom, the scripture tell you to learn, by you observing the animal kingdom. Going all the way to the animal kingdom, if a bird, the bird, let's say, what do you call it? The little one. When the bird have his nest, I don't know in English, man. My English is limited. A bird have his nest and his eggs, and then his what do you call it, man? His little one, which come out of those eggs. If they are hungry, what do? They cry to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. That is natural. Because through the Spirit, they know who control all the food supply here on earth, man. So going back all the way to the ancient time, where the Lord could send easily a famine, despite people had substance, like Abraham. He sent a grievous famine. How much more now, man? How much more now? Let me see. How much now? Let's get scripture, Revelation 18 and verse 7. How much she has glorified herself. Who is that, man? Babylon, man. And they lived deliciously. What does that mean? When this is talking mainly about Babylon, New America. A lot of people in Babylon, they live deliciously. Compared to people here in the third world country. People here in the third world countries, they can eat one meal or go without eating at all. So see, compared to you, people in America, you have lived deliciously. How? The way America was built, it was built in a way that to fulfill the lust of the flesh. And what is the lust of the flesh, man? Sexy, food, and this different enjoyment, man. Fall. Basically, America was built on the left-hand side, based on fall, man. Food, everything in America is geared toward food, and that have been projected even to the third world country. Now people, they have land, but they don't really cultivate their land, man. They expect food to be imported from somewhere, man, from China or whatever, man. You see, so that was a strategic move from Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. All of the countries in which the Israelites dwell, you see, the Lord made it to the point that they are complacent, man. They expect food to come from somewhere, instant food, convenient stores, supermarkets, man. Small price imported food from somewhere. So basically, what is the Lord made? He made these Western countries to be a consumer's country, to live deliciously. Their mindset is somebody will produce food for us. What we have to do is to have money, man. And that money is useless. We will see. Going all the way back to the French Revolution. Let me finish this and we go that. So much torment and sorrow give her, for he says in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow and shall see no sorrow. So we see a hot sorrow is coming to America, as I was telling you, since the time of inception, the Lord has been known to send what we call grievous famine. And as we read from Lamentation 4:9, it's better for those who will be slain by the sword than those which will die by hunger. Why is that? When you read the science of metabolism, you understand there is a different component our body is built upon. You have a carbohydrate, you have protein, and you have a lipid. If somebody is not eating for a long period of time, what happens is all his carbohydrate get consumed, because carbohydrate have what we call a lower metabolic rate, so they get metabolized first. What comes next is your protein. And what is your protein? The protein is what builds your body. Your flesh is built upon protein and fat and carbohydrate. Your protein, like 80% of your body is protein, man. The body starts consuming your protein. The body starts eating itself. You see, why is that, man? Why is that, man? The flesh, man. It's a flesh. You see, it's a flesh. Let's see. That is a flesh, man. So this is John 6 and 63. It is a spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profit nothing. The word that I speak unto you is their spirit and their life. That's why the scripture tell you wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of that time. Why? Because the flesh is built upon to be satisfied. If you don't eat the flesh, it will eat you. It will eat your carbohydrate, eat your protein, and eat your lipid. After your flesh eat all you consume, metabolize all your carbohydrate, it metabolize all your protein. After that, your lipid, and then you will die a grievous death. First and foremost, before you die, because that is a painful process. If you have your kids or whatever, you will boil her and eat her. You will boil her and eat her. Let's prove that, man. Let's prove that. You will boil her and eat her, man. Let's prove that, man. And this is it was 2 Kings 6 and verse 28. And the king said unto her, What aileth thee? And she answered, This woman said unto me, Give thy son that we may eat him today. Why is that, man? What happened is Samaria was being besieged, man. Going back to when you besiege a certain city, you cut all chain of supply, man. All chain of supply. You see, and what happened is the people inside the city will start eating whatever they have, and no food left. What happened is your body start to metabolize your flesh, and that is a painful process. I don't care how civilized you are, and I don't care what religion you are. You see, when you undergo that painful process, man, you will turn into a cannibal, man. And people be thinking when we prophesy that cannibalism America will be reduced into a cannibal state or a country. People be laughing to us. They say the great America state, as a great America, a country, how can it be reduced to nothing? How can it be reduced to a cannibal state? People don't even believe there will be civil war in America, let alone America being a cannibal country. But what they don't know is the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, man, is to be feared, man. That's why all the things which were written for us to learn, man. If the Lord could send a famine back in the day when people used to own cattle, used to own gold, they used to own land, not only a famine but a grievous famine, that should ring a bell in your head and to understand that Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, He controls all the chain of supply. You see, a chain of supply. So we boiled my son and did eat him, and I said unto her on the next day, give thy son that we may eat him. And she had did her son. You see, that's it, man. What happened is the metabolic process which you undergo in your body, because in order for a metabolic process to undergo, so that the food you eat, it become metabolized with chemicals. Your body contains chemicals. Actually, your body contains what we call hydrochloric acid. That is a very, 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 very dangerous acid. That's why if you don't eat, you get what we call ulcers, because that chemical, it will consume your flesh. So how about if you go 3 days without eating? Those different chemicals in your body, they will consume your flesh, and they will feel that pain, and they will turn into a cannibal. It is easy like that, man. I don't care if you are near thirsty, you are a civilized nation, the great American, the great renewed American. You see. That's why the scripture tell you people, you Babylonian, man, have lived deliciously, man. To put it simple is that you don't know, you don't consider your later end. So from here, let's go and get something. This is the Atlantis report. It says negative oil pricing, the death of the petrodollar, and the base of the new world order digital currency. So in order for you to understand what is a petrodollar, you need to go to history, like the French Revolution, if you will. So the French Revolution, going back, I was actually researching the French Revolution, how it happened. Let me give you a brief narration. The French Revolution happened because it was the agenda of the elite. All of this petrodollar, this paper money, it was designed, the elite designed this so that they can have full control on money, man. Because if you leave people to use gold and silver, that is really money, man. You can't control it. How can you control gold and silver? You see, you can't. That is really money. So what happened? The French, they were very adamant. They wanted to use a currency which is backed by something like this, a signet. It was like an instrument, a monetary instrument, which was backed. It was backed by land and things like that, man. First is the French used the silver and the gold, man. But the elite jacked them up, man. They caused what we call hyperinflation, man. You see, to the extent that French was reduced to nothing until they accepted using paper and money. So going all the way to, I don't remember correctly if it was Nixon, you see, during the petrodollar. To me, the petrodollar economy. Let me open it so that you can see. See, the petrodollar, US dollar paid to an oil exporting country for the sale of the commodity. To put it simple, the petrodollar system is an exchange of oil, the US dollar between countries. Let me see. see, when did the petrodollar start? You see, the petrodollar was coined in the early 1970 during the oil crisis as the first major petrodollar surge, resulting in the more financial complication. You see, what happened if the petrodollar collapses? The entire world will collapse, which is into economic class world than the Great Depression for a while. A little history is the Bretton Woods Conference. You see, I think to put it simple, you know now the importance of a petrodollar, because the dollar is linked direct to crude oil or oil at all. And what is oil, man? Oil is energy. You see, in order for this, the so-called chain supply, in order for food to be at your local restaurant or your convenient store, you need to have energy. You need to fuel your truck to transport that food to be processed in the industry. In the industry, you need also fuel or energy to process that, so that you can get bread, you can get burger, you can get McDonald's, you can get Popeye sandwich or whatever food you use. You can get bread, you can get rice. You need energy. And what is energy, man? Oil. So if the petrodollar collapses and the entire economy collapses, for you to travel from France to here, you need to fuel your plane. You see, that's what the petrodollar is really important. And what is the petrodollar? The petrodollar was an agreement between America and Saudi Arabia, because at that time Saudi Arabia was a major producer of oil in Venezuela, a country you call today OPEC, man. It was an agreement between America and the OPEC country. You see, to see OPEC, let me see OPEC countries. Let me read for you. Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Country Intergovernment Organization, 13 nations. It's Saudi Arabia, Iran, Indonesia, Venezuela, Iraq, Nigeria, Algeria, United Arab Emirates, Libya, and Ecuador. So this is the OPEC country. So they were in an agreement with America that the petrol or energy at all should be bought by dollar, and that was like a covenant or an agreement. In exchange, because if you have an agreement, both parties needed to produce something. You need to offer something to that agreement in order for that agreement to come through. So America, what is they offered? They offered the protection, because going back, to the 1970, 1960, America was as a really harm of this, yes, man. It was a superpower, very powerful. Unlike now, right now, America can be threatened even if you see Iran or North Korea. Back in the day, America was a major superpower, man. You see, beside Russia. So America offered the protection to Saudi Arabia mainly. In exchange, all energy should be bought in dollar. You can call it oil, crude oil. You see, that's how important oil is. So if oil turn into a negative price, that will affect you. And what will happen? Famine, man. What will really happen? Let's go. What will really happen? Let's go to the scripture. See. Let's go to the scriptures and let's see. Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 3. In the day when the keep of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinder cease. And who was the grinder? Going back to the ancient time, if you want to have a flour, let's say from maize, you need to grind those maize to produce flour. So the grinder really are people who produce a food in your city, a manufacturing industry or whatever, man. Wherever your food is being produced, it depends on your country. So the grinder will cease, and what will make the grinder to cease, man? Different reasons, like lack of energy, like fuel. The coronavirus is easy because they are few, and those that look out of the window be darkened, and the door shall be shut in the street. When the sound of grinding is low, he shall rise up at the voice of the bed, and all the dot of the music shall be loud low. See? So what will happen, man. So that what will happen. See? So going to what we call the Atlantis report. Let's listen to the Atlantis report. It say negative oil implies the death of petrodollar and the birth of the new world order digital currency. So all of this machinery, this world machinery chain supply. Let's first, before that, let's go and an article. Let me pull an article. Brothers have been going to it. Food crisis, you see. Food crisis of biblical proportion. Let me see if I can pull that article. See, the biblical famine due to COVID-19. So it's all boiling to the grinder season. So this is friends24.com. It say UN1 of biblical famine due to COVID-19 pandemic. The head of the UN Food Agency warned Tuesday that as the world is dealing with the coronavirus pandemic, it is on the brink of the hunger pandemic that could lead to the multiple famine of biblical proportion. So this devil's norm, man, what is coming, man. So this will lead to America being turned into a third world country. And remember, the people in America, you have been living a delicious life. Of course, you people who are not in the truth, because the brothers in this truth, they know, they have transformed their mind, they have the mind frame of the ancient times, you see, fasting, putting mind over matter, man. You put your mind over your stomach, man, because your mind is yes or another belly, so to speak.
What's coming is modern-day slavery, low pay, high rent, high student loan debt, high food costs, cash ban, negative interest rates, universal income, and socialized medicine. Eliminate cash and guns, and it's game over. Cryptos are the next step in this nefarious plan. The mark has finally arrived. Digital dollar, digital wallet, digital identification. All we need now is an asteroid. Welcome to the Matrix. You can get in, but you cannot get out. Congratulations, here is your new world currency. Yon never saw that coming. Government officials and regulators across the board have voiced their support for a digital US dollar, and recently the US has said they are researching a central bank digital currency CBDC. Blockchain will be weaponized to track every single transaction that anyone makes. It is 1,000,000 times more Orwellian than cash. Bye-bye to the Tether cartel, and welcome to the Big Brother. With a digital currency, they can then just simply ban certain purchases on the spot. Guns and ammo. Yeah, those are deemed bad now. Digital Fed wallet will not allow such a thing. Gold and silver bullion? Yeah, that's too against the rules of the new digital Fed wallet. No such purchase will be allowed. This is what really matters. This is what really is going on. What the entire motive behind all the pandemic hysteria is really about the end game. The money, people. That is the whole kit and caboodle. Once there is no cash, and all transactions are digital, it won't matter if Krusty the Clown is running Washington, D.C. It won't matter who you vote for. It won't matter, period. You will do as you are told when you are told, and how you are told. The end game is not money per se, they can print all the money they want. The end game is total control. This is what's coming. The control element will be complete. When they are done, you will beg them to take the cash and give you digits, just so long as the pain goes away. This has all been planned for many years now. The writing has been on the wall. Reset of paper money to digital. What can be more perfect to start it now? There's the motive for the pandemic. No wonder they are trying to warn people not to use physical currencies due to fear of spreading the virus. They're setting us up for an all-digital one-world currency. Imagine a run on the bank with digital dollars. Welcome back to the Atlantis Report. You are here because you want to hear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. The deep state boomer oligarchy lost the petrodollar. The current COVID media-induced panic is the cover-up. Coronavirus is a boomer hysteria and has nothing to do with the Wuhan plague but everything to do with the petrodollar. The reality is that the New York and London stock market boomers are stealing the retirement of boomers worldwide while telling them to hide in the basement. The USA lost the petrodollar. The power to price and control the price of oil and the coronavirus is the cover-up for the stock market crash. One currency to rule them all, one currency to price petroleum, one currency to bring the nation-states in and in petrodollar debt bind them. The US and UK petrodollar system collapsed overnight. Petro is dropping like a rock. Oil is in the negative as of the making of this video. Coronavirus economic collapse main event 201 moving along perfectly, just as planned. The rest of the markets soon to follow, perhaps between 1 to 2 months from now. This is the largest economic shock of our lifetimes. This is a wake-up call. The price of everything will drop, except food and taxes. The bankrupt major oil companies will cost your pension funds hundreds of billions. Russia crashing the oil market is part of the pincer attack being orchestrated by Russia and China. There is nowhere to store the oil as all ships and tanks are full, and shale producers can't stop production or the pressure in their well drops so they lose the well. Hence there is nowhere to put the oil, but the producers need to keep pumping. For a producer, it would be better to produce the oil, set fire to it and buy back the hedge contract. Unlike stocks, this is not a paper transaction. People are literally on the hook for physical delivery of 55,000 barrels of oil if they do not get rid of their options. This is the death of the petrodollar and the coming of a currency reset. Going exactly as planned, put people in lockdown while they crash everything, connect the dots. This virus was the catalyst they had planned. The US petrodollar, which is dependent on other countries being forced to use US currency to buy oil around the world. Now with the oil becoming backwards and obsolete, the plan is to replace the petrodollar with the digital dollar. Central banks want two things: privatize currency and suppress cash. For more control, complete control of people's lives. That is what they crave, control. Money in and by itself is not what interests them. They have enough of it and only see it as a tool to control the masses. The same goes for governments, which is why all systems are set up to entrap people using debt. Freedom, both personal and economic, is the enemy of this agenda, so any politician who talks about freedom for people is lying. Most of them stay clear of that and instead use relative terms like equality, fairness, etc., knowing full well how people can be equally enslaved. Central bank digital currencies would raise the ability of a central entity to banish individuals or sovereigns from engaging in economic exchange, restricting them to barter. Taxes and transaction fees will slowly move all money back to their side of the table anyway. Theft is the only thing on the menu. The rich get a bailout. The poor get a handout. Theft is the only thing on the menu. The rich get a bailout. The poor get a handout.
So you heard it pretty much. That's what is going on. So back to the scriptures, man. I want to close this out. So, back to the scripture. Because everything needed to be filtered from the scriptures, man. You see, so let me see. This is 2 Ezra 15 in verse 2 Ezra 15 in verse 49. It says, I will send a plague upon thee, widowhood, yes, poverty, famine, thorn, pestilence to waste thy house with destruction and death. So first, what is widowhood, man? Your husband leave you alone, man. And who is your husband? Somebody who provided for you. Like how the nation of Israel was cast from our husband Yahweh Shai. And what did it happen to us? We called a holy hell, man, here on yes, man. Everybody took us into slavery, every nation beating us down, raping our women. That's what happened when you become a widow. You become everybody target, man. Everybody will seek to buy you. So poverty, everybody know what is poverty is. Famine, that's what is upon us. Fraud, destruction, and pestilence, man. And the glory of thy power shall be dried up as a flower. Have you ever seen a flower being dried up? It happened quick, you see. It happened quick. So all of you people who think that is a great America can't be reduced into a cannibal country, you better get prepared. The heat shall arise that is sent over thee. Thou shalt be weakened as a poor woman with stripes. Not only America will be beaten with stripes, but it will be reduced as a poor woman with a stripe. So try to picture that in your mind. I know you know what stripe is, to beat somebody with a cord without mercy, and the one chastised with a wound, so that he might, and the lover shall not be able to receive. You see. So let's jump down here to verse 57. It says, thy children shall die of hunger, and that is the main point of this lesson. So in order for this to happen, the children of America to die by hunger, a series of events needed to happen. COVID-19, which cut off a chain of supply, and the death of petrodollar. All of this is geared toward to make America uncomfortable, to make you feel unhappy, extremely unhappy, man. And the thou shall fall through the thwart, thy seed shall be broken down, and all of thine shall perish with the thwart in the field. You see, they that be in the mountain shall die of hunger and eat their own flesh. You people who flee in a bunker, like people like who is this dude again? Kanye West. You see, you see, the same thing I was explaining to you. Eat their own flesh. What is that? That's cannibalism, man. When your flesh is starting consuming itself through this different metabolic reaction, that painful process will make you eat your kids. After you finish your kids, you will start desiring your flesh, man, to eat your flesh. Just imagine you are by yourself somewhere in a dungeon, and you lift up your arm or your feet. You are salvating. When you look at your buttocks, you are salvating. You look at your woman's buttock, you start salvating. You look at your arm, your own arm, you start salvating because of hunger. You desire to eat your own flesh. What do you feel about that? That's the bad as judgment, man. And they drink their own blood for very hunger of bread and thirst of all. Though unhappy shall come through the sea and deceive plague again. You see, unhappy, extremely unhappy. And in the passage, they shall lash on the idle seat. So what is the idle seat? America, man. Everything is convenient. A convenient store, a supermarket. And the people in America, they have been laughing at people in the third world country. People in the third world country, they are at least, man. They know they can stay for 1 day without eating. You people, man, you idle people in America, they call you an obese country. You have a lot of obese people in America, and in Europe, Italy, London, Ireland, Greece, Canada. You have a lot of obese people, man. You will desire to eat your fat stomach, man. Let's read again. And in the passages they shall rush on the idol city, and they shall destroy some portion of thy land, and they consume part of thy glory, and they shall return to Babylon that was destroyed. And thou shalt be cast down by them as stubble, and they shall be unto thee as fire. See? So that's what is coming upon America very soon in a nutshell. As far as hunger and famine is concerned. So with this, I hope you brothers were edified. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Hashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakaha, Kadash. On to the next. Shalom.